Good afternoon. Goodness, I've kind of got a hot mess here today. Uh, it's 3:30 on Monday, November 11th. This is Veterans Day in the United States. So we thank those who have given their service to our country. Okay, I think everything's working. Probably everything but me. Because my mind's been going all over the place today with about 3 different ideas, and then I came up with this, and oh goodness sakes. So hello Holly, welcome. Okay, let's see, let's move that out of the way. Okay, just take a deep breath here, Pat. And hello, Rose. Happy that you're here too. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. If you saw the introduction, I'm playing with embossing powder today. Let's move that out of the way. Okay. So raise your hand, teacher and me, who likes embossing. Heat embossing, I mean. Not the same as dry embossing where you run an embossing folder through the die cutting machine, but heat embossing. And over the years, I probably mentioned that was the one thing that really got me hooked on rubber stamping. Oh my goodness, look at my hair. It's a mess. And so every once in a while, I just like to kind of pull that in. And today I've got something different. So step up to the challenge. All right. So to our embossing powders, they are new this year. And you really don't see much of them. Let's flip down to my desktop, I guess. On page 126 in the annual catalog, and it talks about the Versamark pad, which you do need for heat embossing. And the craft ink pad can also be used for embossing, primarily the white embossing because it's a white, but it is the one craft ink pad that we have. And then the step 2 is adding the powder. Get high contrast with the basics pack, which is basics is black, white, and clear, which is really hard to see here. And then the metallics, you have gold, silver, and bronze. So I'm going to be using the gold, silver, and bronze today. Yes, I said all three. Yes, all three. But I have a sample to show you with the black and white, not the clear so much. It's just fun. And of course, then you need a heat tool or something that is going to heat that metallic, or I guess probably the black and the white might be a plastic of some kind. I don't really know. It's also a good idea to have the embossing toolkit, which includes this cute little thing. I kind of like to put a piece of paper in this instead of using this to get all my stuff out. These reverse tweezers come with that kit, and an embossing buddy comes with that too. And why do we need an embossing buddy? Because our fingers have oils in them, and that can tend to get on your cardstock and pick up, it acts, your finger, actually you could probably do your fingerprint. Your fingers act kind of like the Versamark pad, and it will hold that powder. So those 3 things, along with the heat gun, and our heat gun has a nice protective cover to it here, so it can't burn you, because this part here gets really, really hot. This will hold it up if you want to stand it up I typically don't use that. And then we have 2 heat settings. One for drying, which is step 1 here. I can do that, and it's very low. And then step 2 is the one for the heat embossing. So it's a very versatile heat tool. And so I will be heat embossing. So we'll have to really, I'll speak louder so we can get through it, because I'm going to be doing a full, not quite this big, but cut down a little bit to show you what I want to do. So let's get started. Put things away here. So I am using the, what's the name of that? I put it away. Or did I? Oh, hello. I'm using the Leaf Collection background stamp, full background stamp. I think I've used it before, but I know that I have not used it to do embossing. If you don't have the largest of our blocks, sorry. As I said, I'm kind of a hot mess today. Too much has been going on. You can also keep that, because it's so large, you can keep that right in your stamp case and take your Versamark pad right to that and your paper right to that. And on these large backgrounds, I typically don't put the index sheet on either. So I just have that tucked away here, out of the way. At some point, I might want to put that in. But I am going to use the large background stamp. So I said, raise your hand if you like to do heat embossing, and nobody said they did. So maybe you don't know whether you really like it or not. So here are our new embossing powders. They discontinued the other ones, and now they're called Wow Embossing Powder. I don't know how they're different, but let me see what it says here. Never really read the instructions. It says sprinkle powder over wet ink, remove excess by tapping sheet, heat with a heat tool, the powder will melt and raise. It will take a few seconds to solidify. There's actually a website here. I never noticed that before. Hello, Shirley. Welcome. Called wowembossingpowder.com. I might have to check that out. Now, it doesn't look like there's much in here, but I will tell you, with all of my years of stamping, and as I said, that's what first got me involved in stamping probably 29, 30 years ago. I don't think I've ever used up all of the embossing powder that I have. First of all, you don't typically use it every day, although you certainly could. And it uses so little. And that's why you've got this nice little case or a piece of paper to put it back in the jar. And then you have it for the next time. The cost for those new powders. What did I say? $126. They are $21, and they come in the sets of 3. As I said, the black, white, and clear, and the metallics, silver, gold, and bronze. And trust me, it's a good investment. They'll last a long time. Unless, of course, you dump one, which I think I've done before too. But it's so fun. It really kicks up a card, whether you do just a little bit with a sentiment, or what I'm going to do today, using a little bit more, of course, with a large background stamp. And I have one card done. I'm going to do one for you, and then I've got some other wow things to show you, so stick around. Okay, so I'm going to be using, because of the leaves, I'm not going with the green, I'm going with some neutrals here. So I've got some Early Espresso, some of our new Basic Beige. I'm going to emboss on that. And I have, let's see, I had used this before. I'm not going to use the crumb cake. I'm going to set it aside for right now. So I have a piece of Basic Beige that is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4.25. And then I have the pieces that are going to go on the front, although I am going to cut this down. So right now this is 5.5 by 4.25. And then this piece is going to be a layering piece. And then I have already embossed, dry embossed, and cut out Thinking of You from our hybrid embossing folder. Let's see if I can find where that is. I think it's it here. Yes. And I think I used this a couple weeks ago. It's the Thoughtful Moments hybrid embossing folder that has all of these sentiments on here. Thank you, happy day, thinking of you, hello, so much fun. And I'm going to be using the Thinking of You. I have a friend who's having some shoulder surgery, and I thought I would send her this card when I get it done. So here we go. This is the Basic Beige, and I'm going to start with my embossing buddy. To get the oils off of there from my fingers. I'm going to take my Versamark pad, and this has like a what do I want to call in there, okay, as I said, it's been quite a day. Something in there that will hold the powder, let's put it that way. It's also a watermark pad, so you can just use this to stamp on dark cardstock and just get a nice watermark image and not do any embossing at all. So I'm making sure that that's all on there. You want to cover that up, make sure that you don't get any embossing powder on there. And then I'm going to take this piece, and as I said, this is going to be cut down some in case all the edges don't get on there. And I've got a piece of copy paper to go over that to get a really good impression. Especially in the middle. And there you can see that if I didn't do anything to that, it would dry and you would still have that impression on there. So the Versamark pad is a must-have. Okay, so let's put that away because I don't want to get anything else on this either. And let's see, let's grab this here, and then I have a piece of copy paper I'm going to put in here that I have folded both ways because I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going rogue today, ladies. A little bit different. Maybe you've done this before, maybe you haven't. I'm going to mix and match. Well, more mix. We're going to mix. Embossing folder. As I said, it's been a day. I'm going to use the metallics. The gold, the silver, and the bronze. Now, I'm one who likes to mix my jewelry with different, you know, I like the gold and the silver mixed together. I love that look. So I have a lot of jewelry that has that too. So that's why this appeals to me. So let's go. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start with the gold. I'm going to use all three metallics on this same card. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit wherever. So yes, it will mix. You don't want to put this back in the container like you would if you were only using one color. So let's zoom in a little bit here. There we go. So I've got quite a bit up there. Okay, let's go there. So now I'm going to add some silver. So if you've got some other container that you can put this in when you're done, but I found that I was just making more as they got all mixed together. Okay, so now we've got the bronze, or I guess it's copper more than bronze. So I'm going to fill this in with the rest. Now, once that powder is on where I initially put it, that's where it's going to stay. So I'm just kind of filling this in. So I guess I would call this a wow. And again, there's a ton in there. But you might get hooked and just use it all. So now I'm just going to put that all together. There's no way I can separate those out. Tap that off. Now this is the first one I've done on the basic beige. So now you can see those powders are here. I'm going to kind of leave that like this for now, and you'll see how it can be used again. And it's okay if it mixes it up. It's fun. That's what this is about. It's fun. So now let's get our embossing gun here. Something else out of the way. And you do want to make sure that this is nice and hot before you attack your paper here. So again, I apologize, I'll talk loud, but I think you're going to like this a lot. Okay, that's pretty hot. Very hot. Okay. Told ya, it's a hot mess here today. I need those tweezers. Okay. So look at this before I start with it. I want to use the tweezers in an area that doesn't have any embossing on it. And you can see those colors. But wait till they pop with all of those different ones. It's very random, of course. I know what I need to do. Let's grab a piece of copy paper here so that you don't see that overhead light. There we go. And you just hold that on until it starts to emboss. So there we've got some gold coming up. There's some copper. I'll show it up here. You don't want to do a lot of this Just hold it to the light until you can see that it has started to, what I would say, cook. Okay, so about half of it is done. And you can see how those colors are just stunning together. So now I can hold this in here a little bit more since this is already done. And let's do the rest. Okay, so there we go. What do you think? Now it will tend to curl a little bit. And if you touch it while it's still hot, and it's not hot because I'd already did half of it anyway. If you touch it while it's still hot, it will smear. So you do want to make sure that it's cool. And I just love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. I love the mixture. Obviously, no two would ever be alike. So I'm going to cut that down. To, what did I say? This piece is 4 by 5 1/4 to go on the card front. So this is going to be 3 3/4 by 5. So there were a couple areas that maybe didn't get enough of the Versamark on there. So that's where I would want to focus on trimming that off. That's why if you have it larger, you've got some wiggle room for cutting off a portion that might not have gotten a good coverage. Okay, so that is 5 1/4. So now I want to cut another quarter off of this other end. And then part of that is the stamp itself too. And then this is 4 1/4, so I'm just going to take 1/4 inch off of each one of these sides too. So we end up with a piece that is 3 3/4 by 5. Isn't that stunning? And that's going to go on a piece of early espresso. And I strongly suggest a good adhesive like the Seal Plus, or I'm going to use Tear and Tape and kind of do a little refresher on one of my tricks for using Tear and Tape, because this is one of those adhesives that is also very unforgiving. Once it's there, it's there. And I do show this little trick from time to time, so maybe you've seen it before. So, how's your weather where you are? We are thinking of getting a full hard frost finally this week. I think it's about 60 now, but that's about it for the rest of the week, and it's going to be in the 40s and 30s. So I think our Indian summer is gone. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, we can see the colors better when it's flat. Okay. Thank you, Rose. That's a good idea. Let's put it on the dark. And there's a little more zoom, I guess. Okay. Thank you. So this little trick is when you have the tear and tape on the back, don't tear it all off at once. Pull it back a little bit, maybe about an inch or so, and pull over a little tab. And then that tab will pull, use that tab to pull it off when it's positioned exactly where you want it to go. That way you've got a little bit more wiggle room. If you only adhere that much, then when the whole shebang gets down there on your paper. Okay. Now this is one where it really doesn't make any difference which way it goes. So, and I like to have my cardstock going landscape. I think it's a little bit easier to see it and control it. Let's move it up there. Hopefully you don't see the top of my head. But I know that I've got 1/4 of an inch off, so it will get stuck down there in just those portions that I released the tear and tape. And now I can pull this off. So that side's straight, that side's straight, and that side's straight. So there you go. Mix and match those colors. Okay, that's going to go on my card base. And then I have Thinking of You. And I have a piece of, I don't know if this is big enough. I had a piece of this gold and silver combo pack, kind of like a twine. To go behind there. So let's add some adhesive to that. And then I can add some Stampin' Dimensionals, some little babies. And let's get a strip of this to go in the center. Let's add some adhesive to the back of this. I love the new basic beige. It's just such a nice soft color. It's not crumb cake. It's not white. It's not vanilla. It just is a nice, beautiful neutral color. What was I looking for? Oh, here we go. As if we don't have enough bling on here, let's use these pecan pie clear. I think these are an online exclusive or mini catalog. So we'll just add some other bling there. And there you go. Move it down a little bit so you can see the whole thing. All right. Now, okay, I'm going to do one more. I'm not going to make a full card, and use up some of the rest of that embossing powder. And it will just all get mixed together. So I think there's enough in there that I don't need to add any from the little jars. Okay, where did I put the... Okay. I'm not even going to do it because it's embossing. Pardon me, you guys. Okay. I laid that embossing buddy somewhere and it walked away. So one more using up that mix of powder, which you can see here how it is all kind of together, but there's still parts of it that that are separate. So I'm just going to kind of bring this back over here and slide that in there. Just kind of move it around. So I may not have used as much on here as I did on my original sample. Let's see what we can do here. If I can get one full card out of that, or before I have to add some more powder to it. Don't need much, really. And then keep in mind, I'm going to cut some of that off too. It's kind of like adding flour to a baking pan when you've added some shortening to it. So in this case, there's very little waste on what I started with in the first place. Okay, I think that's about it. So I didn't waste any of that. Certainly not enough to even worry about. Okay, here we go with the heat gun again. So there's still enough differentiation with the 3 different colors. Because you can still see some of that silver. Mixed more of the gold and the bronze together. Almost done. Okay, so now you see where this one here is a little bit dark. That means it needs a little bit more heat to it. Let's see if there's any place else that's like that. Okay, there are a couple spots here. So you do need to have good light. There's some spots right there, one over here, one down here at the corner. And that'll do it. So there we go on that one. So this is the original. And this is with the leftover powder. So it's still really, really pretty. You can see a little bit on the zooming. So you can see enough of a difference of the 3 colors. Not as much as on this one though. So I'll save that for another card, but let me show you what I've already done. Okay, this was one that I will complete. This was the first one that I did. And this is with crumb cake. And then I mounted it on a piece of gold foil. So there's that one. This was the second one that was done after this initial one. So the colors went together a little bit more, but it's still enough that you can see that we've got primarily gold and the bronze there. Now this one, wait till you see this, started to play a little bit more with the black and the white. And this is a piece of smoky slate, and I sprinkled black and white, the black and white embossing powders. So I haven't done anything with the clear, because that kind of defeats the purpose of what I was trying to do. This looks like a dishware that has the different colors on it. So I like that one. That'll become a card. Here is one where I did what was left of the black and the white, but did it on colored cardstock on Lost Lagoon. So it's a little bit more dramatic. I really like that one too. And then this is one that I did with fresh powder. And this was done on a piece of designer series paper. So you've got a little bit more of a background back there too. So this has been so much fun this afternoon, getting these ready, kind of getting my mind going where I needed it to go. So this is our completed card for today. And then these are all of the other samples that will become cards. So that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed what you saw, and you're going to run off to your craft room, get your embossing powders out, and sprinkle them on your cardstock. So remember, you need a Versamark pad, you need a heat tool, you need some tweezers to hold it down, and you need an embossing buddy, wherever mine got to. So I will see you next Monday. Goodness sakes, we'll be the middle of October, middle of November already. So thank you for indulging all of my craziness today. Now I hear the noise, so it was a good time to stop. The lawn boy is here, finally getting some leaves done, so the noise will be starting. So thanks for being here. Take care. Have a great rest of the week, and see you soon.